This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right. There he is, the man that is absolutely broke because he had to give everything to Tyler Van Dyke to stay.
That's right. Oh, he owns my house now. I got to pay rent to Tyler to keep him here.
I thought there was something funny when I was driving to work and I looked under a bridge and I saw you and the family hanging out there. And I'm going, what the hell happened here? Manny's homeless. He's living under a bridge. And Tyler Van Dyke. Yeah.
Thankfully, my daughters were really good with their cups, holding them out and getting some money.
Well, I thought it was crafty because you stuck the kids in between the two columns, so they really had the depth under the bridge, and they were really covered. So that was strong on your part. It's like they had their own rooms there, so that was good. That was good. The wind couldn't affect them. It was strategic on your part. I like that.
I appreciate
it. So
seriously,
what happened, bro? What happened? Who gave up the money? Who signed over a check? What's the deal? Ruiz opened up, more. What went on?
Yeah, it's a crazy can of worms here. What's funny is I know from being around this team a long time that Tyler and his people weren't necessarily happy that he wasn't the highest paid player on the team. I mean, some of these freshmen that came in that Mario was able to attract here, I think, got bigger NIL deals in part so they would come here and help the turnaround, right? Just part of demand, supply and demand, so to speak. Tyler wasn't the number one paid football player, at least under Ruiz and Life Wallet. I think he was in the top 5% from what Ruiz told me yesterday when we exchanged some text messages. I think ultimately what happened here was Drew Rosenhaus's people. This is what they do, right? I mean, that's who represents Tyler. I think they were able to get him a better NIL deal from somebody who's not John Ruiz, because believe it or not, there are other people who quietly are involved in the NIL game at Miami that have helped sort of put this thing together. Ruiz, of course.
I thought Ruiz is the only person in the entire country doing this.
Well, listen, that's the problem with people who don't really do their homework and just assume, right? That take the lazy route and just say, who's the guy tweeting about their NIL? That must be the only one doing this. Clearly, Miami for a while has had other people. Look, Ruiz helps run the Canes connection, okay? He's basically helped them. He was the first one to sort of start this NIL system with checks and balances for Miami, having guys film commercials. So these people, Canes Connection and others who have these sort of collectives, they do it quietly behind the scenes, and they have Ruiz sort of help them with it. But the reality is there are more donors, there are more people banking, Miami's NIL move. And so those are the people who took it and ran with it and got TVD a better deal to keep him here. Now, the question is, how many schools were really pushing for Tyler? When I asked some of his people, the answer was some of the top programs in the country. The only name that came out was Alabama publicly. I reached out to some people I trust at Alabama, one who's actually part of their NIL initiative, who told me Alabama's not necessarily happy with the two sophomore quarterbacks that they have on the team there that are going through spring football. Does that mean that they were willing to break the bank to bring in Tyler Van Dyke and make him their starting quarterback? I don't know. I don't know that there's a concrete answer to that. But I do know that Tommy Rees, who is their new offensive coordinator and was at Notre Dame, was interested in Tyler. I know there was some flirtation with bringing Tyler to Notre Dame back in December at the end of last season. So the point is, we'll never probably get the clarity on which schools were pushing the buttons here behind the scenes, but Tyler had enough where he could go to Miami's people and leverage and get himself more money. And again, we say Tyler because he's the player, but ultimately it's his representation, the people behind the scenes who have to do that work for him. So he's getting more money. He's staying. He's going to be the quarterback.
Nigel Pack really got $800,000 for 2 years?
Over 2 years, so $400,000 a year.
So what's Tyler getting?
I mean, I know when I had asked this question before, with as far as Life Wallet is concerned, it was less than 100,000. But when you add up his other deals, okay, and you add up everything else that he's making through other NIL that he has, not just with John Ruiz and cigarette racing and all that other kind of stuff, it was well into the six figures. Now, is it $1 million? No. Is it what Bryce Young was getting in Alabama? No. I think the one thing, is when all this started and when Jaden Rashada, when the $14 million number got thrown out there, people really don't have the knowledge, right? They just assume all these guys are making $1 million, are getting highly paid. Look, that kind of money is not just free flowing for guys. Bryce Young is going to be the number one pick in this draft, right? I mean, Alabama paying him $1 million, or the people at NIL, involved in the NIL at Alabama doing that. Okay, fine. They can pool $1 million together between them to keep them there and make them happy. But there's a lot of other programs not dishing out that kind of cash at all. And I would say Miami has one of the healthier NILs. And I know that everybody's sitting here saying, well, why aren't they recruiting better? Why aren't they the number one class? Because, these kids care more.
They're also not number one in NIL, by the way.
Right.
They're not even. Are they even the top 10?
Miami's NIL?
Yeah.
I would assume so. I would assume they're in the top 10 of the NIL.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I would see, the thing here is
I would figure Ohio State and Oklahoma and Alabama and Georgia and certain schools have even more NIL than Miami, I would imagine.
The Ohio States of the world, the Georgias of the world, the Alabamas of the world don't need to overpay for these guys because they are the avenue to get them to the NFL. They're the ones with the track record of, Brian Hartline's the guy who's put X amount of first round picks at wide receiver into the NFL. That's why Brandon Inniss isn't at Miami, because he got some money from Ohio State, but he didn't get as much as he was going to get at Miami. Why? Because Miami's NIL is better. Ohio State is better at putting guys in the NFL. It's a combination of things. It's a combination of things for these kids. It's what's the best deal for me, not only financially, but who's going to put me in the NFL.
I didn't think Miami was in the top 10. I thought maybe top 20, top 15, top 20.
No,
I would figure those big ass schools also have a lot of NIL money.
It's hard to really tell, because a lot of this is on the hush hush. A lot of the people who have been giving money for many, many years continue to do it in a private, non-publicized manner. Nobody at the NCAA is taking score. So this is more reporters just, having to sort of dig for this information. And
so Ruiz is the freak. He's the one that openly talks about it all.
Ruiz is the freak, correct. He's the one who made this public because he wanted attention, obviously, for his stocks, right? For people to buy into Life Wallet. That's why he went into this venture, right? Like, I can invest, $10 million into Miami athletes if it's going to help my $1 billion SPAC at people to invest in it, which obviously hasn't happened, right? I mean, he's had his financial issues because of that. Now, that being said, he is not the only guy with NIL deals at the University of Miami. That's crazy for anybody to just assume that. There are a lot of other people involved in it, and I think it's easy for reporters to sit here and create a narrative, and for fans to create a narrative when they want to see Miami fail. The reality is that's not the case at all.
Okay, so it is over then, right? Because he tweeted.
I would assume so. I mean, listen, he's got until April 30th to enter his name in the portal if he feels like. Look, if you're Tyler Van Dyke, okay, and Alabama really wants you and they're going to make you their starting quarterback, and you want to be a first-round pick in the NFL, are you staying here at Miami where you still kind of have an iffy offensive line and an iffy wide receiver group, or are you going to Alabama where they've got some of the best players in the country?
You're going to Bama.
So again, that's why I bring up, did he really have what he supposedly had at Alabama, where they were offering him full, or were they just talking to him? That's how negotiations work, right?
Well, that's because because it's also tampering at this point.
Of course, but listen, I mean, who doesn't tamper? I mean, everybody in the country.
I know, but this is the reason why we have to say, do we know if there was any contact or not? And we don't know,
right?
Because right now nobody can publicly say that there was any contact. Even Tyler Van Dyke can't say he had any contact because then he's going to get other people in trouble besides himself.
Of course,
So it just, all right. So, since we see what's going on with Tyler and he got, I guess, his money or whatever. What is going on with Manny looking for wide receivers?
With Mario?
I mean, Mario looking for wide receivers, corners, something that he may need going into this upcoming season. What's the latest there?
Well, look, they're still looking. I think, there are guys that are entering the portal. There's guys that they're making contact with. There's going to be the visit season where those guys have to come on campus, take official visits. Some of them don't need to do that. They'll make the decisions quickly. But Jaden Davis, a kid from St. Thomas Aquinas, who's been, I think he started 23 games at Oklahoma as a cornerback. Look, he's not an elite player. He doesn't grade out among the elite and Pro Football Focus, but he's a starter, a guy who's played a lot. I think there's a good chance he ends up becoming a Hurricane, helping, coming in as a cornerback. There's other guys that they're looking at. There's a defensive lineman out of Ole Miss who's 6'4", 315 pounds, who also plays baseball, by the way. This kid apparently hits jacks home runs. His name's Tywone Malone. There's a good chance that he could end up here as well. They're looking at an offensive lineman out of Wyoming, who's one of the top-rated guys to bring more depth in at that position. Receiver,
is he a tackle? I would imagine, right?
I think he's a tackle. Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Right.
So look, they have guys that they're in on, but again, this process takes time. Some kids will take the money. Yes, I'll take your NIL deal. That's good enough for me. I'm coming. Some kids will say, no, I want to visit 3 schools because when I was coming out of high school, I only visited 1 and I want to go through the process. I want to enjoy being wined and dined when I make these official visits to campus. So everybody is on a different timeline. And ultimately here, they're looking to upgrade this roster. You can bank on that. I know there's a receiver out of TCU, a kid who was pretty good as a freshman. I think that hit the portal. Is a guy that they're looking at. I forget what his name is. I think his last name might be Hudson. But anyway, there's different kids that are out there. Are they ready to announce any transfer portal commitments? I don't think so. I don't think they're close to that. But again, the process will play out, and just know that Mario's looking to upgrade the roster.
All right. What else you got going on the Athletic so folks can check you out, my friend?
Well, we had a Q&A, another mailbag Grace Rayner and I did on the ACC. If you want some ACC information, we ranked the top quarterbacks. We did a stock up, stock down for the coaches in the conference. We answered a few questions on some of the other rivals teams that play Miami this year. So you can check that out. I got a new podcast up, the Wide Right Podcast, talking about the Tyler situation, more recruiting information as well. So you can check that out, the Wide Right Podcast. All of that is there for you, and I'll have some more recruiting coverage here in the days and weeks ahead.
I love it. All right. Follow him on Twitter, Manny_Navarro. Manny, as always, you're a stud, my brother. Enjoy your weekend, sir. And
you too, brother.
Make sure you build stronger walls on the sides and the bridge. That way the winds and things like that.
It'll knock it over. Yeah, I got to make sure.
Yeah, protect. You know what I'm saying?
All right, bro. Take care. See you.
You got it. There you go. But he kept his car because he's able to park it right there next to the bridge. So he's got some space there. All right. Caneswear, baby. You order over $99, you will get free shipping. That's what it's all about. Brett, Jeff, all the great people out there at Caneswear. If you want, go to 2511 South University Drive in Davie. Take advantage. They got anything and everything practically with the Canes logo. They sell InterMiami gear. They've got the new InterMiami jerseys or kits. And you can go there and check it out and have one on for Saturday when they, trying to pick up a victory there on the road. It would be nice, actually, and I hope they can actually pick up a victory this week. It would be nice if they can do a number on the Dynamo. They've got Marlins gear. They've got Dolphins gear. They've got Heat gear. And, of course, gear all over the place. Tell them that we sent you. They will take care of you at 2511 South University Drive. Go to caneswear.com. You order over $99, you will get free shipping.
If you're
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.